nobody stop what the Most High put together. We gon' see. In times. Serpents lurking, watchers watching, Yasharala stay on point. They lurking. We under the covenant, we ain't got no other choice. Gird your loins up, armor up, cause it's time for war. We the generation that's gon' get on one accord. Serpents lurking, watchers watching, Yasharala stay on point. We under the covenant, we ain't got no other choice. Gird your loins up, armor up, cause it's time for war.
Sliced cheese.
Grated, please, my man. Have you ever heard of flat earth? You ever heard that term?
Oh, don't even go there.
What?
I'm sick of hearing that.
You're sick of hearing it?
Aye.
Where have you heard it?
Everywhere.
What do you think about it?
It's a lot of shite.
Why?
There isn't flat.
How do you know?
Because I know.
Tell me how.
It's impossible.
It's impossible for it to be a ball.
No, it's not.
Of course it is.
Everything else is a ball.
No, it's not.
It is.
You ever seen bendy water?
No, I don't tell you. No, I've not actually.
You know that the surface of water is always horizontal and flat, don't you? Right, if the earth's 70% covered in water, how can it be a ball?
That's a good point.
So one minute ago you were saying it was total rubbish, and now you're saying it's a good point.
Yeah, it's still no flat. I believe the scientist, other than a Raji, stood in at Celtic Park with a camera.
You believe it? Alright, so you believe strangers, you believe the government?
Aye.
You do?
sometimes.
So it's just quickly, bud, where have you seen this then? Is it all social media?
Oh, aye.
You seen it out in the streets anywhere?
I've seen a couple of billboards, somebody painted on it, flat earth.
Flat earth? Aye. Is any of your mates talking about it? Nah. Never
I'm not
gets,
into that stuff.
never gets brought up. Cheers, buddy. Thank you.
Is that okay?
That's okay, that's fine. Hi sir, what's your name?
Juan.
Juan, how you doing? I'm Dale.
Right.
Juan.
Nice to
Are
meet
you going to the game tonight?
Yeah, it's my first time here. I'm really excited.
Yes, where are you from?
Spain,
Spain? Yeah. So what's your first team?
Real Madrid.
Real Madrid?
Yeah.
So is this your first time at Celtic Park then?
Yeah. And there is a long time when I want to come here. I live in Liverpool,
Okay.
and I'm really excited for it.
Excellent. What do you think the score's going to be?
Probably Celtic is gonna win. It's
Yeah, easy. 3, 4, 5 maybe?
3-1, something like that.
Yeah, do you think the other team will score, do you? Yeah.
Possibly.
Always
yeah.
a possibility, isn't there? So I'm just going to ask you another question. It's not about football now. Have you ever heard of the term flat earth?
No.
Have you ever questioned the shape of the earth?
No, not really.
No, you've never questioned the shape of the earth?
No.
Do you believe that the earth is a ball?
Well, not a complete ball.
Not a complete ball? Can I ask you why you think it's a ball?
Because it's like a circle. I don't know.
Through your education system, because you were told it was a ball?
Yeah.
And the TV told you it was a ball? What if I was to suggest maybe that it's not a ball? Would you be interested to hear that?
Not really.
Not really? Does it matter to you?
No.
Oh, okay, no problem, man. Thank you very much for speaking to me anyway.
Nice
I
to
hope
meet
you
you.
enjoy the game. It's a pleasure, buddy. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Take it easy. See, some people just don't care. It's just the way it is. Alright, bud. Have you heard of flat earth, Lee?
No.
You've never heard of flat earth? No. Have you ever questioned the shape of the earth?
No.
You think you would question it?
No, not really.
Have you ever seen bendy water?
No.
If the earth's 71% covered in water, right, and we know the surface of water is always horizontal,
Right.
how can the earth be a ball?
Good question.
So you know what you need to look at? See the photos that we see that they tell us are from space? They're no actual photographs. They're composite images.
Right.
So see now if you go on your phone and you look at that, now that I've said it to you, you'll realise they're cartoons. They're taking $52 million a day off of people and giving them cartoons. They're lying to us about where we actually are. The earth's a level plane and they're hiding what else is beyond it. Right, you're going, I know that you're busy and you play football and you've got a nice lifestyle, but I think it's important, bud.
Aye.
Definitely look into it.
Aye, of course.
Appreciated. My channel's beyond the imaginary curve, mate. You'll see it on there.
No worries.
Appreciated for speaking to me, Lee. Cheers, all the best tonight. That was Lee Griffiths, Celtic striker. So, hopefully he speaks to the rest of the boys in the dressing room, you know. So, thank you very much for having a wee word with me. What's your name, sorry?
Linda.
Linda, I'm asking people questions about the world we live in, right? But first and foremost, I just need to understand, you know, so a wee underline and an agreement on what we're talking about. Can I ask you, are you religious at all?
No.
Would you say that you base more things on scientific proofs?
No.
No,
I had a religious upbringing.
You did?
Yes.
Yep.
So
Okay.
I suppose my beliefs do come from the Bible.
Exactly. Well, that's excellent, because this, you know, I speak to a lot of religious people, and they reckon that what I'm about to discuss with you is prominent in the Bible. So for me, never mind, you know, the terms of science. In order for me to show you something that was to be true, you would require some sort of practical demonstration. You would actually need to see it. You want actual proof, some tangibility. So, that's not very professional. Professional interviewing.
My boss.
Do you want me to?
I'm just coming back. Fine. Raymond's just got a couple of us water cans to put round to the carvery, and that's it. Okay. Yeah. Just John. He's set the food up and he's setting the coffee up just now. No, he's got the coffee set up. I need to get milk. Right, no, they're both set. Yes. Okay. See you shortly.
I'll edit that wee bit out.
Sorry.
So, as I was saying, you know, about practical demonstrations and showing each other stuff, I think it's important for humans to be able to do that, so we know what's true. So if I show you this, right, and I show you that substance in there that we know is water, right, how would you describe the surface of that?
The surface of the water?
Yeah.
Smooth.
Flat?
Smooth.
Yeah, so from one point to the other it's even.
Smooth.
It's even. So that's always my number one reason for why I dismiss the idea that we live on a spinning ball in the vacuum of space. Have you ever questioned that?
No.
Do you think that you would ever question it? Do you think it would be important if you thought if that was wrong, if we were being lied to in some level?
I don't think we are being lied to, because people have been into space and they've looked back on it and they've sent us pictures back of it. So to me that's proof that we are on a ball.
Those images that they show us, they're not actual photographs, they're composites. They tell us that. So they say it's like a series of images stitched together in order to make the ball, and then they add in clouds and colour and all that kind of stuff, so it's pretty much just a photoshopped image. But you know, would you dismiss your everyday experience over an image you see on the TV? Do you think that would be rational?
Not necessarily. It depends
No.
on what it is.
Is this making you uncomfortable, this subject?
No. It just depends on what it was.
Well, for me, I
watch the television and I don't believe 99%
percent of what
it.
you see, but
Some of it I think, I know that happened.
But you would believe in the ball, although you've never been there.
No, although I've never been. I'd love to go there.
Do you think it's possible,
Yes.
although you've never been?
I've never been. I do think it's possible.
So they tell us that it's a vacuum up there and that we live in a pressurised environment. Physics shows us that in order to have a pressure in a vacuum you need a container. That's physics, that's science. So
Isn't the universe the container?
well, they say that out there's a vacuum, a never-ending vacuum. Even as human beings, in order for us to even understand a vacuum, we need a container to create a vacuum.
Yes, but I don't think us as human beings can fully understand infinity.
No.
They say it's infinity, it goes on forever, but I can't comprehend something going on forever.
No, neither can I.
Because everything in my life comes to a point where it ends.
It ends, the beginning and end.
So I really
finite.
can't.
So what if I was then to postulate there's a possibility that the earth we stand upon is infinite, and that we are just being kept in a segregated area? I mean, would you ever consider that's a possibility? If you believe in space being infinite, surely you would need to be open to other possibilities then.
Never really thought about it, to be honest.
So everywhere that we go and we experience in the world's level, it's flat. You look out to the horizon, what shape's it?
Flat, depends where you are.
Flat. It's taken from the word
The line is flat.
It's taken from the word horizontal. Horizon. So if it's flat everywhere, where does the curve start?
But it's the human concept of walking. You know, when you get to the top of a hill, it's flat.
Is it?
Aye.
I can see the curve. I can see curves on
You
hills.
can see curves,
I've never seen the
but
curve
when
of
you
the
look
earth.
to the horizon, it's still flat.
But I've never seen curvy water.
I have. You've
Where?
never been in the middle of the North Sea.
But it's not, it can't curve.
It does. You can
can't-
see the curve.
it
When
doesn't
you can see for hundreds of miles right round about you.
It just looks, but it could just look like that. But even mainstream science will say that's impossible for you to see the curve at that altitude. So it's obviously a trick of the eyes.
It's a trick of the eyes.
But I know with liquid like that substance, it doesn't support shear stress. You can't bend it. It doesn't support itself. It's impossible. But yet we're supposed to believe the oceans are bending, and people are upside down from us right now on the other side of a wee bar.
True, I've never thought about
Bloody
that.
ridiculous.
I've never thought about that.
I mean, we always know. We know up and down. We know left and right. We know every possible direction from the level.
The only one time I've ever experienced it is I worked offshore and we were in really dense fog in a helicopter, and you have no realisation of up and down.
Yep.
So we could have actually been upside down in the helicopter and you don't know. That's
Yes, you'd be disorientated.
It's a danger point when you're flying a helicopter in dense fog, that you don't actually know whether you're upside down or the right way
Do
around.
you know what keeps the helicopter level?
No.
There's an instrument in there called a gyroscope.
Oh, I thought it was that, but I wasn't too
But
sure.
a gyroscope is balanced to the level, and it dictates to any aircraft when it's deviating from that level, so that they know to bring the plane back under level. And if you're on a ball, you would have to be curving and dipping your nose to account for curvature for every mile that you go. It starts to descend further and further and further. So when you go on an aircraft and you go up to 30,000 feet, all around you the horizon should be lowering and be below your eye level. It never is when you look at the window on a
Never is,
plane.
true.
It's straight up at your eyes.
It's
But the
straight.
physics of a ball dictate that it must fall
It must fall.
in every direction, but it's not there.
Maybe whoever designed it was clever.
Well, see, this is the point I wanted to get back to about, because see the people I speak to in the Bible, everybody that I speak to that's religious involved with this subject shows firmly that the Bible states that the earth is an immovable, flat plane. He stretched out the heavens like a tent for us to dwell under. The four corners of the earth. There's loads of different references in the Bible. There's nothing in the Bible talking about the earth being a ball and spinning through the vacuum of space. So I always say, if people are committed to a religion, surely you would have to commit to that then.
Yeah,
But not just faith in the book. I would also encourage you, obviously, you have a look with your own senses and have a wee look into it for yourself, just to verify or falsify. Because for me it's hugely important. If we believe we're somewhere that we're not, then you know, we're living a false life, we're living a lie. So if we understand that we're somewhere different, you know, the possibilities of who we are and where we are, you know, drastically change. Because then we'd be looking at the places being designed, and we should really figure out why and how we got here and who designed it. I mean, do you think it's important, or do you not see any relevance into it?
I don't really see any relevance in it.
Just too
There's
busy with
not-
life.
Just too busy with life.
Busy with life.
There's nothing I can do about it, so...
Well, my only hope is that I can plant a seed that it may grow and that you may consider it and have your mind open to having a wee look at it. That's all I'm ever really looking for. So if that's been achieved, then great. But I thank you very, very much for your time and speaking to me. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you. Appreciate it. Take it easy.
That's interesting.
Thank you. Hi bud, what's your name?
Dan.
Dan, I'm Del. Dan, how you doing? You alright, Dan? Are you up for the game
I am,
today?
yeah.
Aye. What do you think the score's going to be?
I'd say 3-0.
3-0?
3-0,
3-0. I'm just going to get straight to it, Dan. What I'm trying to gather is if people have heard about certain topics in the world just now.
Aye, go on.
Have you ever heard of the term flat earth?
No,
You've never heard of it?
no,
Have you ever questioned the shape of the earth?
no, not really.
No? Would you ever think it would be important if there's a possibility that it's not what they told us it was?
It's never played a part of what I've been thinking.
Never
at all,
played a
no,
part of what
no.
you've been thinking? Has it triggered a thought in you just with me bringing it up? No?
Oh, a little bit. 'cause
A little bit. Could I make a couple of points to you just
Oh,
to
go
see if
on.
it gets you to think about it? So we've got this substance here. Oh shit, he's that. Right. So we've got this substance here we know as water, right?
Aye.
And the surface of water, any body of water, as we can test and observe for ourselves, is always horizontal and flat. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
You would agree with it?
Oh, yeah.
Sure, everyday experience, innit?
Yeah.
So you've never seen a body of water bending, have you?
I haven't.
So if there's 70% water, how can it be a ball?
I'll be honest, I have no idea.
The idea?
I'm not the cleverest of person. So
Well, do you not think it's dangerous though to leave your authority to somebody else to tell you what's right and what's wrong and what's true and what's false?
probably, yeah.
Aye. So I asked you a minute ago, I'm only hoping to trigger the thought and maybe you'll
Oh, you
dwell on
triggered
it.
the thought, yeah.
So one other thing I'll just say, you see the images that it shows, they're no real photographs.
Are they not?
Nah. You go and check yourself, now that I've said that to you, if you go on your phone and have a look for images of Earth from space,
I will.
you'll realise they're cartoons. So that was the only thing I wanted today, mate, was just to try and trigger that wee thought
Aye, well,
and see if you'd anything to add in. So that's great, mate, that's all I want to know.
No, that's brilliant.
Go and have a wee look at it. I appreciate it, my man.
No bother.
Enjoy the game, alright, bud? Alright.
Yeah.
Alright, bud, cheers for speaking to me. What's your name, man? Derek. I'm Derek as well. Dale. Got me Dale, alright, man. Listen, mate, what I'm asking people is if you've heard of a certain topic. The topic I'm asking about is the shape of the world.
Oh,
Have you heard it? Or
aye, I've heard about this one.
about flat Earth and
Flat Earth or round Earth.
what do you think?
I reckon flat.
Good on you,
Because
mate.
why can you not fly from Turkey over the other way when you've came to that side? Why do you always have to double back?
Exactly.
Because if you go to the centre of the Earth, why can't you not fly right round and come back to where you came from?
Well, you can circumnavigate running a circle. You know, like running a circle, but they don't go right up and over the ball and back run again.
How can you go there?
Well, my main thing is that stuff.
How
So-
can water stick to a ball?
How can it bend?
There is that as well.
You know?
So how can it stick to a ball?
Exactly. So that's good on you, bud.
They say gravity holds it right, but see if you look at a flat Earth map, you've got a wall of ice right round the whole map.
Well, that's one model, aye. I don't particularly subscribe to that model. I think people need to be careful about believing that in case
Aye,
it's mere lies.
But then you look at another map that's flat, and the North Pole and the South Pole are actually almost touching.
Aye.
Aye.
So you've had a wee look into it then? Where did you first hear about it?
It was my mate.
Right?
He started talking to me about it, and then I started thinking about it, and then I started searching it.
Good. So where did he get it from, do you know?
Somebody else asked him.
Aye.
Aye, it's a chain. Somebody else always
That's
asks.
good. See, that's what I'm hoping to find, to see if it's spreading amongst, you know, social
Aye,
groups
well,
and people talking
My
about it.
mate's older than me, and even he's like, I think it's flat and all.
Good.
Because he agrees with me. It was me that put forward the whole why can you not fly
Yep.
both ways,
Yep.
and why does it take 24 hours to get to Australia?
Aye. See, there's loads of there's loads of points and there's loads of anomalies in regards to what they told us. So
There is. To see if you look at it, there was a explorer who apparently went round the whole ice wall, and when he was coming back in, he flew over North America.
right,
But if he was
is
to
this
fly
Cook?
over,
Is this right?
if he flew over North America should have been to the west of where he actually said he flew from.
Aye, good
So
point.
why were they flying over straight over it?
Aye. So I can see that you've had a wee delve into it. What my advice would be, because I've been doing this for quite a while now. My channel's called Beyond the Imaginary Curve.
I think I've seen it on YouTube.
Aye,
I think I've seen it.
Aye, I
I'm
do.
pretty sure that's where my mate showed me
Aye,
a
so
lot of stuff. Aye.
maybe see me doing some interviews. I've been running universities and out in the streets and stuff like that. So it's good that you've had a wee look. My advice would always be that though. We need to be careful about jumping in and believing some of these
You've got to
stories.
research it.
Exactly.
Always research everything.
Stick to the facts. Stick to
Exactly.
what you can know and find out for yourself, innit?
Yep.
So what, did you have any ridicule for any of your social groups, any of your buddies?
I had a
and-
few of them tell me I was stupid.
Aye.
I've had a few people tell me I might be right.
Good.
So,
That's really good to hear that it's getting about though, innit? It's
well, there was a boy in Texas that I talked to through my computer, and he believes it's flat Earth as well.
excellent.
So, it's like we might actually find out something.
Good stuff. Well, I'm glad I spoke to you now then, You thought I was going to be asking you questions about football?
I don't like football, I'm a rugby man.
Ah, there you
I've
go.
always been a rugby man.
Aye, nice one, bud.
But my wife's brother loves football. So he's in there to get a football t-shirt.
Yeah, cool. I was just up buying tickets, so I thought I would just try and speak to a few people. I've been up here before. I was up with a wee alien and sat it outside the front and got people's attentions right before as well. So, aye, excellent, man. Well, keep up the researching, man, and keep talking to people about it. That's what's important.
Research anything you don't think is true.
Exactly. And I think it's important for us to keep speaking to each other
It is.
because I'm curious to know what else is out there, you know. For all we know, we've been kept in one wee area and there's so much else going on that we're just not aware of.
Could be like a Truman Show.
Well, this is it, isn't it?
You could just be in a dome.
Well, a lot of people believe we are under some sort of dome or
Yep.
enclosure or whatever it may be. But I think again we need to be careful not to believe in stuff
Speculate.
until we know.
You've got to figure it out first before you try and figure out everything else.
Exactly, man. Oh, no, it's a breath of fresh air. I really appreciate you taking your
From
time.
ancient Near Eastern pagans. Again, we talked a little bit about this last week. This should not be a surprise because there are similarities between the conception of how the world that we experience was made that are shared with Israel's neighbors. We see these terms as metaphorical, the terms that I'm going to cover tonight. We look at them, you know, when the Old Testament says something like that the sky is supported by pillars. Oh, that's just metaphorical. It's just poetic. To us it is, and you know why? Because we have a scientific worldview. That's why. They didn't. They were serious. It wasn't until the 15th century that we have, you know, the whole issue resolved of can you sail this way and come out the other, you know, the whole idea about the earth being a globe and all that kind of stuff, that was debated up into the 15th century. We look at that and go, oh, you know, it's just poetic. It is to us. But what I'm going to say is, again, back to my introduction, if you take it literally, you have to give them the benefit of the doubt. They were serious about it. All these concepts and even some of the terms are part of ancient Near Eastern cosmology. In other words, what I'll show you tonight, the division of the world, what the world looks like in Israelite cosmology, you can find the same descriptions anywhere else. Egypt, Mesopotamia, you know, ancient Syria, the Hittites, whatever. Because this was a common worldview. This is what it would look like. I didn't make this graphic, which is why it looks cool. Okay? Somebody gave this to me because they hated, honestly, at Western, they hated the one I used, and so they gave me this one. This is a three-tiered cosmology. There's God. We're going to see it in the verses I'll show you that God lives above the vault of heaven, the firmament. And in the firmament you have windows and doors. And you have the earth. We're going to see verses that talk about the ends of the round, flat earth here. Underneath is Sheol. Sheol can be both the grave, and it can also be the underworld. Okay? It's not quite hell, but it's sort of like hell. We can talk a little bit about it. And then underneath that, we have the great deep. These are all scriptural terms that are on this map. This is what an Israelite, an Egyptian would have had different terms, but the same three-tiered level. Same with the Mesopotamians. Now they have, theologically, they have dramatically different views of what's going on here. Not just who made it, but what's going on. Views of afterlife, the value of humanity. I mean, it's dramatically different. And I've made the comment before, Genesis is about theological messaging. And there are some dramatic differences in what Israel is saying, the Bible is saying, and anything else. So let's take a look at the parts. Waters above and below the heavens. Genesis 1:6, God said, let there be an expanse. Some translations have firmament. It's rakia in Hebrew. In the midst of the waters. And let it separate the waters from the waters. And God made the expanse, the rakia, and separated the waters that were under the expanse from the waters that were above the expanse. And it was so. And what was that expanse called? Heaven. The heavens, the sky, Shemayim in Hebrew. So you have here the sky. Okay, and you have waters above the sky, and of course you've got waters below down here, but then you have, you know, the atmospheric heavens as well. Psalm 148 mentions the waters that are above the heavens. That's after the flood. Did you catch that? Because a lot of people want to say, oh, the waters above, they went away with the flood. See, the firmament was this canopy thing, and it was there, and then the flood, it just went away. And no, it wasn't. According to the psalmist, he's still referring to it. Proverbs 8, when he established the heavens, I was there. When he drew a circle on the face of the deep. Isn't that interesting? We'll get to that. Circle on the face of the deep. When he made firm the skies above. Made firm is amatz in Hebrew. It is the same verb for letting a tree grow firm, hard. Ancient cosmology across the board believed that the sky was this dome over the earth, and it was solid. Kind of like the Truman Show. Okay? They believed that the stars were affixed to it. Some of the stars never moved, but other ones did. And the ones that did, this is why the word stars is attributed to the sons of God and to angels in biblical literature. They believed that the stars were animate beings, that they were really divine beings, and then they'd come to earth as angels, but they lived up there. And those were the ones that moved. Why? Because movement shows what? If something moves, it's alive. Okay? Again, they can't take a rocket and go up and check it out. They believe that this is there's a solid expanse over them. Another passage. Job 37, verse 18. Can you, like him, speaking of Job, drawing the dramatically poor comparison of God and Job, of course we know who's going to win there, but can you, like him, spread out the skies hard, kazakh, hard as cast metal, mutsak, as a metal mirror. Mutsak is the same word used in the casting of the laver, the tabernacle where they would wash. It's solid. It's also the same terminology used for flint rock. Again, these passages point to the belief that there's a dome, the sky's a dome, and it's solid. And God lives above it, we live below it. Job 22, did I skip one? Did I not? No, I didn't. But you say, what does God know? Can he judge through the deep darkness? Thick clouds veil him so that he does not see, and he walks on the vault of heaven. That's where God lives. It's his address. And before we think, oh, that's quaint, how cute. We think that, don't we? If a little child would ask you, where does God live? Up there. Is there something wrong with that answer? I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Use it, because there's the sense that God lives off planet. Why? Because he created the earth for us. He doesn't need it. He's independent of it. He transcends it. That's all it is. It's very normal. Amos 9:6, he builds his upper chambers in the heavens and founds his vault upon the earth. The vault upon the earth. Who calls for the waters of the sea and pours them out in the surface of the earth? The Lord is his name. And Psalm 29, the Lord sits enthroned over the flood. Again, I told you I'm going to be a flaming literalist tonight. I'm going to say that I'm going to take them absolutely at their word. Vault of the heavens, pillars and mountains. The pillars of heaven tremble and are astounded at his rebuke. Oh, that's just metaphor and poetry. Yeah, to us it is. If you ask them, it's like, well, there's that big mountain thing. I mean, that's holding up the sky. Duh. If you don't believe it, go find. I mean, how are you going to find out any different? Obviously we can, but the means to do that isn't with them. 2 Samuel 28, the earth reeled and rocked, the foundations of the heavens trembled and quaked because God was angry. Windows and doors, and that day all the fountains of the great deep burst forth, and the windows of the heavens were opened. The fountains of the deep and the windows of the heavens were closed. Psalm 78, yet he commanded the skies above and opened the doors of heaven. Again, familiar phrases. Pillars under the earth, supporting the earth. Again, look at the language. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and on them he has set the world. You betcha. It's not Marduk. It's not that silly Ta in Egypt. It's Yahweh who did that. Isn't that amazing? I mean, an Israelite would want you to marvel. He would think you're insane if you didn't. Either that or a pagan. Job 38:4. Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? On what were its bases sunk? Or who laid its cornerstone? He set the earth on its foundations so that it should never be moved. To him who spread out the earth above the waters. Again, think of the circle with the earth in the middle. For his steadfast love endures forever. Now, that is a very brief overview of Old Testament cosmology. I'm satisfied with that. But all of that content is fixed in a particular worldview that we don't have. Okay, we have to let it be what it is. And let God's decision to do it that way settle with us. And my challenge to you is try it. Okay, if you do that, you don't need to justify it to science. They need to justify why they're criticizing it for not being what it was never intended to be. And that would be an interesting conversation. Don't accept that, the way they articulate the debate.
All right, that's where I'll end that. So, clearly, Dr. Michael Heiser fully acknowledges that the Bible absolutely argues in favor of a still flat circular earth with a dome over it. I mean, let that sink in, guys. Go read this guy's bio. A Semitic language expert acknowledges that the Hebrews had the same cosmology as the ancient Near East, which was just the same way it's depicted in the Logos Bible software picture. Now, all the stuff that I've been referring to in this broadcast so far came as a result of me trying to confirm that Logos actually made that picture, because I've used that picture quite a bit, and people get creative with Photoshop sometimes, so I wanted to make sure that was a legitimate image created by Logos Bible Software, which is a highly respected Bible tool software program. So as I'm searching to confirm that that was in fact created by Logos Bible Software, I'm finding all these articles that I've been referring to in this broadcast so far, and then I found this video of Michael Heiser saying that. Now, I said it, and people mocked me, and they dismissed it, and they stated that the whole biblical flat earth thing, that was just a myth that showed up a couple hundred years ago to make Christians look stupid. No, guys. It was the dominant view of the ancient world. Face it, that's what it was until about 1,500 years ago. And this is confirmed, again, by a highly educated intellectual who's one of the big content contributors to Logos Bible Software. Okay, so again, if you don't want to believe me, the village idiot, then believe him. Now, that said, he was, you heard him in the previous session there, say that Genesis is about theological messaging. And he's basically making the case that the Bible is just there to give us theology, how to understand our relationship with God. Well, hey, that's true, but the creator of the cosmos told several authors, and he read a bunch of them, and I put a whole bunch more in the stuff that I wrote long before I ever read any of his stuff. The Holy Spirit inspired these guys to describe the earth a very specific way. Mike says, well, God never felt the need to correct them in their apparent wrong interpretation or understanding. Well, wait a minute. Why would God have to correct them? He's the one that inspired them to write it in the first place. You'd have to correct himself. He's the one that told them to write it that way. This was the Hebraic concept of the universe, and they were not alone. Like I said, there are many, many other cultures that believe the same thing. So looking at our whisper down the line, we have the guys toward the source material saying, we are on a circular, still flat earth set on pillars under a dome, within which are the sun, moon, and stars. We get to the end of the line where we are today, and I heard we live on a spinning heliocentric ball in an ever-expanding universe. Huh.
He gon' send his hand, destruction gotta come, that's how he get us out this lane. The devil working hard, trying to get us out his plane. His sheep hear his voice, so he can't get us out his hand. We gon' trust the son of man, blow your wings, Father. Your kingdom coming, we just trying to make it in, Father. Rather we